How can we make sense of AI in our industry? Coming up. Hello and welcome back to the Freelanceverse. Thanks for coming back to the channel. I hope you enjoyed the Knowledge November series. 4 videos, action-packed with information, quite long videos as well. So I hope you could get the most out of it. Today is the last of the 4 videos and we talk about a very important topic, the AI localization think tank. This is an organization that has only recently been established about a year ago. And I actually talked to 2 of the founders last year. So when this whole idea was bubbling, so you could feel the energy. And now they're here to talk about this think tank, which is great because I really feel like a lot of people are lost in AI. Like, where is our industry going? We need people that actually know what they're talking about to have an exchange, to come up with new ideas, to come up with guidelines as well. And that's exactly what the AI localization think tank is trying to do, is doing. I'm going to link all the links down below. There's so much for you guys to explore. And I hope you enjoyed the episode. Take care.
So welcome back to the channel. As I said in the intro, today is the 4th video of Knowledge November. Throughout the whole of November, I had experts of the language industry on the channel talking about different projects, different passions, topics. And today we have a very important one, I feel like, because I hear it more and more that people are confused about AI in the language industry. So we really needed some kind of group, some kind of unit to give some clarity. And today we talk about the AI think tank. We have Belén and Coral on the channel. Thank you so much to you two for coming on. I would
great to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the invite.
Introduce yourself, a bit about yourself personally, and also about the AI think tank.
So my name is Coral. I work at an LSP called Aclaro. I've been working here for the past 8 years. My background is I studied translation and then I moved immediately into machine translation already in 2018. I started a PhD on the field that unfortunately I never finished, but I learned a lot with it. And that experience also helped me a lot in the current job that I'm doing. Right now, I'm working as a digital transformation strategist, implementing AI and also looking at AI from what I think is a very human point of view, which is my most favorite part of my job, I have to say. And since last year, I'm a member and a thinker of the AI localization think tank. Very happy to be here, and thank you for the invite, Adrian.
Thank you so much, and I can continue with my introduction. I'm Belén Agulló. I'm based in Spain. My background is also in translation and interpreting studies. I also studied a master's degree in audiovisual translation a long time ago, and then I also did a PhD, which I finished on. Sorry, Coral. On actually not so that much on localization or translation itself, but more on accessibility. So it was about how to integrate access services. In my case, I was focusing on subtitling and subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing in immersive environments, virtual reality environments,
wow, cool.
Which was really fun and really cool. In the meantime, apart from studying, I also worked since I stopped, since I finished my bachelor in 2011. So I've been in the industry actively for 15 years, specializing mostly in game localization, audiovisual localization, and also I've done my part of research as well. I worked at NIMSI for some time doing some research, consulting, a lot of consulting as well. And I actually also, fun fact about me, worked at MemoQ for some time as a customer success manager, which was such an interesting experience as well. So I feel like I kind of touched different parts of the industry. And right now I work at Terra, which is a global LSP specializing in game localization actually, but also healthcare and other verticals. So we are diversified, and my role is executive consultant of innovation. So I try to apply all my knowledge on AI, technology, workflows, and translation in general into what we do with our clients. and the think tank, right?
Yes, yes,
that's
brilliant.
the important
Thanks for the
part.
personal introduction, and now about the AI localization think tank.
Yes.
Yeah, what inspired its creation, and what is it?
Yes, so a little bit of a personal story here, and it's fun that the three of us kind of are here together after 1 year that we met in Brussels, because it kind of is where all it started. So last year around the summer, I was going through a burnout. Many people in the industry are going through burnouts. I'm sorry, guys. We can make it through. Don't worry. So I was starting to think like it's a burnout, and it was also like an existential crisis as well. Like, what are we doing? What am I doing? Where is the industry going with all this AI and seeing also working very closely with translators. In my previous role, I ran a translators community for a big multinational, and I was seeing firsthand how they were suffering a lot. So I was feeling like, what can we do to support everyone in the industry to make a better impact? And I started to have this idea to create a community, some sort of, to support people navigate changes that AI was bringing to our lives. But at that time, I didn't have the energy to actually materialize that idea because I was like not feeling great. So I said, okay, well, this is a great idea, but maybe for another time. So nothing happened there. And then I went to Brussels to Translate in Europe Forum, where I met you in person for the first time. And actually, that's where all this started to get into motion, because I met Marina Pancheva, who is also one of the co-founders of the think tank. Probably some of you know her. She has a lot of energy, so she was having the energy that I was lacking at the time to help me materialize this idea. And basically, yes, we both thought that there was a gap in the industry, that real knowledge, real true exchange that was not kind of marketing like, because at that point, and even right now, many companies were trying to sell their innovative solutions, and everyone was trying to sell a success story when it comes to AI, but that was not necessarily a full picture or necessarily everything that was going on in the industry. So we thought, well, we need to get together, have a team or a group of people from multiple backgrounds, and start creating this knowledge base with no hidden agenda, with not trying to sell anything, with no affiliation to any company, and let's create this platform to support people navigate this change. So that's a little bit of what happened there, and 1 year after we're here, which is great.
Yeah, you definitely went to the right person when you mentioned Marina's energy. I remember so well last year, we were out in the evening quite late, and I asked her, so when do you speak? And she said, I have the keynote tomorrow morning. What are you doing here? I would just be obsessively reading my notes at home. Yeah, it's infectious, her energy. So that's super cool. And then through her, you met a lot of people that were interested in the same area.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And actually, it was a little bit of then there in Translating Europe Forum, I met Coral, Balázs was there as well, Tina and John and other people who are part of the think tank. So we connected organically, honestly. It was not like I was seeking for volunteers or anything. It's just, it happened, which is part of the magic, I think, of the think tank. And then I think it was 1 week after, I went to another conference, Languages and the Media, and I met with Gabriel, with Estavrula, with other people and we started brewing this idea, and then we came together, and then after that, the initial group, we started to recommend other people and saying, okay, maybe we need some more people from academia, maybe we need some more people from the freelance side, maybe we need some more people from the enterprise side. And we all gave our recommendations, and that's how the group was formed.
Brilliant. Yeah, Balázs was on the channel last week, so the week before this goes out, and he was really passionate about it. I could feel that he wanted to talk about it, but I had to stop him and say, no, leave that to Belén and Coral. But when I first saw the announcement of the AI localization think tank, I went on the website, I looked at the lineup, and I was like, wow, okay, you guys really got the best, the top people. Coral, can you talk a bit about the members? How was the group assembled?
Well, the group was assembled very organically, as Belén said. We were just, we were there and we were talking about our pain points, our everyday lives, our struggles. What is it that we do in our everydays? And we realized that even if we all come from different backgrounds, or our jobs are focused on different areas, we all are sharing the same. And it's this, people are fear the unknown regarding AI and what's going to happen with their jobs, regardless of which job they are doing. Because I think it will be, well, Belén mentioned a little bit some of the members already, and I think it would be a little bit unfair to mention only some of them, because I think we all bring unique experiences, insights, energy to the group. And I think leaving anyone out, it would not be doing justice to the collective expertise that we bring. I think the main highlight is that it's a very diverse group in our backgrounds, in our roles, and in the perspectives that we all bring to the table. So we are researchers, professors, linguists, translators, localization professionals, company leaders, marketing strategists, AI specialists, technology innovators. We come from all the different parts of the localization and AI ecosystem. So from academia, industry, large enterprises, independent freelancers, translation buyers, sellers. We try to represent everybody. And that's helping us create this panoramic view of how artificial intelligence is intersecting with language and culture and our industry or our community in general. I think it's very important that our roles and opinions are so different.
Yeah.
Many times we are challenging each other because of our experiences, because of our points of view. And I think what was key for all of us to be so excited about being part of this think tank was when Belén reached out to me. There was just one simple rule that he said, this is just a group of nice people that can openly share their opinions and their experiences towards AI. And the only rule is that we all can speak freely and we all have to respect each other, even if we disagree with each other.
Yeah.
And I think that was what drove me towards the think tank immediately. That the fact that I know that somebody is going to challenge my opinion and it's going to make me grow, because it's going to bring other views to my perspective. And the fact that I will also be able to speak freely and express my opinions without being judged or without being criticized. I think that was the perfect space to create a safe community of independent thinkers that at the same time come together to think together. It was a wonderful idea.
Yeah, that is important what you mentioned, that you have very different backgrounds, because I feel like it's so easy to fall into an echo chamber of just the same ideas being repurposed. And then you see like kind of some of the freelance translator site that I see on LinkedIn, more like anti-AI, and then you see the LSPs really pushing innovation and you feel like everyone is talking next to each other and there is no discourse. So I really love this initiative and this kind of no judgment rule. Yeah, I mean, if you can actually, it's a nice rule, and if you can actually implement it, that's another story, right? That's because I feel like it's such an emotional topic, like livelihoods depend on it. So discourse without judgment can be very tough in such a charged topic, right?
Yeah, but that's the key of the think tank, is to bring people who are actually nice. That was for me because nice people with good hearts. That's what I think wrote at the beginning, because of course, and sometimes I have arguments, like heated arguments with some of the think tank members. I'm like, no, we are completely disagree, but we can like have that conversation, which is, I think, also what drove us to, as Coral was saying, to really do this, is because, as you said, Adrian, we were seeing so much disconnect in the industry, and people were not talking to each other, and most of the times, like, the freelancers are left aside of the conversation when things are being discussed in the big corporations and this and that, and the future is this, and everyone is talking about the future of the industry and about what will happen to translators, and no one is actually asking translators or involving linguists in the conversation, which is insane because we are all talking about things that most people don't actually know. So for us, for me, it's about also keeping myself honest and keeping everyone honest with having this conversation. And when someone says, yes, let's implement AI to do this, well, what are the consequences? What are we trying to solve for? And who is suffering the consequences of that? We talk a lot about ethics in the think tank.
Yeah.
It's like a constant, we don't publish so much about it for now because we feel it's such a complex and difficult topic, and we don't feel still like confident like we can just throw like guidelines on ethics because it's such a difficult topic, but we discuss it very much every time we meet, and it's we always go to the same topic because that's what concerns us the most, I think. And having this diversity in an overview is really helping us have a more informed and wider overview on how things are impacting everyone in the industry.
You know, we have a lot of groups represented, and it's always the easiest answer is to say, no, this is because the one group that is not represented is to be blamed. For example, no, it's because they don't teach at university what they have to be teaching. We cannot say that. We have university representatives. No, it's because in the industry they don't do this or that. We have people representing the industry that can speak firsthand what is it that every different group is doing. So it removes the possibility of just putting the blame on others. Yeah. And we have to actually face the reality within the group. That I think that, and when we see that maybe we are going into an unbalanced way, that's also why we created different sections of the content that we create, and we have also sections when we invite others to come and speak, so that we can also provide the views of, for example, people that are against AI, and so that we understand why are they against AI, what's happening in their world that's making them have that opinion. So we really try. I know it's impossible to be completely unbiased in this world, but we really, really try to be going towards that direction.
Okay. Nice. What I see now mostly from the content coming from you is very interesting interviews and content. I assume, because it's still a young organization, I assume this is more of a short-term goal. Like, what do you imagine, Belén, long-term? You spoke of publishing guidelines, for example. Is this an idea that you have in mind to create something of a framework, for example, in the future?
That's a very interesting question. I think we're taking baby steps because as with every volunteer-driven initiative, you have to really give yourself some grace and some space to acknowledge that what you're doing it out of passion. The people who are part of it are doing it out of passion, and every small step for me is such a big deal, right? We've been publishing content every Thursday for the whole year. I mean, that's for me, that's such an accomplishment. It's a lot, and it's good content. It's not just random stuff or regurgitated ChatGPT created content. We really put our hearts into it. Long-term view, some things that we are actually discussing right now, and these are insights into the think tank. This is still not public, or we are really still not fully fleshing these ideas, but we've been discussing, first of all, how to involve more people. As Coral mentioned, we are trying to be unbiased, but we are, of course, biased because we are humans, right? So we will all have our own biases, and even if we try to balance that, there is certain, because we attract the same type of people perhaps, and as you said, Adrian, the echo chamber. Actually, we published an article called something about the echo chamber a couple of weeks ago. Gabriel wrote it, and it's we are also seeing that, right? We are preaching to the choir sometimes and just agreeing too much with each other. So one thing that we want to do more mid-long term is to involve more people, and we are thinking of ways to involve more people in a way that is sustainable, that it makes sense. So we have the podcast for now, but what else we can do, how we can engage more people from the industry to bring this diverse perspective, and also voices that are not so heard. Because I mean, myself, for example, I'm tired of myself. I'm tired of speaking, and I'm tired of going to conferences. I'm like, people should hate me at this point, but like, there's so many people out there that are in their houses, probably having much better ideas than many of us going to conferences have, and we want to try to engage those people. I don't want to invite Renato Beninato. Sorry, Renato. Like, you are everywhere. Like, you already have that many platforms. So like, how can we involve people who actually are not so heard? Because I think that's what enriches the conversation. So that's one thing. Another thing that we are planning, but we're still not sure how to do, is a small event. We want to do a small event online, but we want it to be meaningful. So the other day we had that discussion, and we were like, well, it can be a panel with us and like discussing certain things, but it's just 1 hour. So what are we going to say? And Coral, you were the one who pointed this out, the same things that everyone else is saying, like we cannot go in depth. So we're trying to think of ways to do an event that is meaningful, that brings this soul of the think tank, of the diversity of voices on topics, and hopefully filling a gap that is not being met right now in the industry. So that's one thing. And of course, probably more long-term as well, to create more like rich reports on topics that we see are not covered, and to disseminate scientific knowledge more. And not only to say, hey, this is the headline, this new report says that ChatGPT translates better than Google MT, but it's like, okay, looking at the methodologies of the articles and the experiments that are being published, disseminating that in a way that makes sense, demystifying AI more, so going more into the scientific knowledge. And for me, specifically, another thing that I would like to do is to perhaps be more involved with researchers in universities, because there are so many questions, open questions in the industry that need more independent research. And as a think tank, we are doing what we can. If we had more time, we could be conducting more thorough research, but it's not always the case that we have that time. So how can we involve universities and researchers who have probably the time and hopefully the funding to reply to important questions in our industry, such as what is the impact of using AI in the end user for localization? That is a question that I have in mind, that I really want to find ways to see how, not localizing something with humans and it's just good enough quality. A lot of people are talking about good enough quality. AI provides good enough quality, so who cares? Okay, maybe users care. Are you really looking into what users are doing? How is your new workflow or AI-driven whatever solution actually impacting the users? And there are no real data on that. So I think that that's something that I would like to kind of motivate, and maybe as a think tank collaborate with universities to help them with the industry insights and let them be the independent researcher body that will help us answer these very important questions. So that would be some of the ideas. Coral, I don't know if you have any more.
No, I think most of the ideas that we are having on what to do, or the short and long-term goals, they are also very naturally coming to us. So we are discussing, and then we are deciding, maybe we could start inviting people so that they can also share their voices. And then we start to invite people, and they're like, but we don't feel so confident speaking in a video, in a webinar format. So maybe we can start doing blogs with people. So how do we keep involving? So I think many of the ideas that we are having, or the initiatives, come also from us interacting with people that are following us, and they want to also collaborate, or people come with ideas, or we see questions coming to us on how could I help, what can I do. This article that you published was really interesting, and it was very useful for me, so I want also to give something back. And that's, I think, the whole the whole idea of the think tank as a community, I remember the first meeting we had that I referred to it as a support group, because a lot of people are struggling with what is it that we are doing with AI, and they were coming to us looking for some guidance when I need to rely on all the other think tank members to find guidance myself. It's not like I'm not the guru of life. So none of us are gurus of AI. We all need to hear everybody's opinions to come to a conclusion or to a path we are all in this same community, industry, call it however you want to call it, together. So it's up to us all to figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah. Balázs said last week as well, if anyone says that they have it all figured out, they are lying, right? So so it sounds to me like you're trying to give a voice to as many people as possible, so people can then combine all these voices and create their own opinion. That's great. And also the people watching, I know that there are some really very advanced thinkers about this topic in my audience, so they can also reach out to you then if they want to have their voices heard, or maybe collaborate with you on a topic. That's great. Okay. And I of course I will link all the content, all the podcast down in the description. I also saw when I checked the website that there is a resources tab with a lot of resources. What can people find there?
Yes, so I can talk a little bit about what we offer for now, the think tank, in terms of content. So we have the website, which is the main hub. There you can find information about who is part of the think tank, our mission and vision and all that. But more actionable content that you will find there is the Insights tab. The Insights tab, it's content that we create as a think tank. So there are articles, there are videos, so anything that we're producing specifically for the think tank. I recommend people to check it out. Then we have the resource tab, where actually our member Stavrula Sokoli, she created a repository she created a structure of like a library of content classified by different topics, so that you can go there and see what are the latest articles that we are reading that are not created necessarily by the think tank. And yes, interesting curated resources basically for people who want to expand their knowledge on AI, because I think something that is really important for us is not, as Coral said, we are not gurus of anything. We have no idea what we are doing, as everyone else in the industry. But I think offering tools for people to learn more and going on their own journey, I think that's what we're trying to do. So by looking at these resources, that's something that can support people in learning more about it. And then we also have the YouTube channel, where we are hosting the podcast that we have as well. Then we also have a couple of other video content series. One is called AI Explained, and Marina Pancheva is doing a great job explaining very difficult, maybe not very difficult for me, are difficult, like scientific papers, disseminating them into plain language, which is what she does best. So that's a really cool one. And then we also are having one that is called AI Reels. It's a pun between reels and reels. Well, that's smart. So basically there we are interviewing think tank members about short topics. We don't want to go in there, but just to spark conversation. So we had one about what are the implications of LLMs being super biased towards the Anglo-Saxon culture, and because they have learned about that culture, those values, how that influences using LLMs to localize or create content into other languages. So that's a topic that we covered. Tomorrow we are publishing one about quality and you know how quality relates to end users, and quality strategy and how it relates to AI as well. The other day I recorded one with Gabriel that will come up soon about how AI is impacting the craft of writing. So how it impacts the writers. Is it influencing it positively, negatively? Can you keep your voice as a writer? So anyways, like nuggets of conversations or topics to spark the conversation and just plant seeds around topics that we are probably not have figured out, but that we believe we should be talking about more. So yeah, so that's in the YouTube channel. And then we have the newsletter as well on LinkedIn. So we have the LinkedIn page. We have a newsletter that we started in September. We recommend you sign up to that if you want, because what we do there is we summarize the content that has been published that month in the newsletter. So if you don't have time to go through everything, you at least can have a snapshot. And then, yes, and one resource that is super important for us in the website as well is there is a section that is called Ask the Think Tank. So in that you will see a form, and you can submit any questions or even comments that you have that you want to share with us. But basically, we've been receiving some questions from the audience. And we either one expert create an answer to that question if that's a topic that someone from the think tank really is an expert on, or if it's something more general, we can combine the expertise of different think tank members and support the person who is asking the question. It can be anonymous, or it can be you can share your information. So those are the ways that you can engage with the think tank and how you can benefit from the resources that we're creating.
That's incredible, yeah. And even just after 1 year, you have all that set up. So that's so cool, and really appreciate it. I think from the whole also freelance translator community, I can say a big thank you that you took on this big tasks that seemed, I don't know, kind of impossible. But I see where you want to go, and that's exactly what I think is very much needed. And I had so many questions still, but I feel like even just talking about the setting up of the whole thing took us a long time. I just want to maybe ask one more, like, the question about the discussions you have. You mentioned biases, and you mentioned that you talk mainly about ethics in your discussions, right? Can you share a few of these ethical concerns, a few examples that you think about, that you talk about? Maybe Coral, you want to take that?
Yeah. So we talk a lot about this, and there are many ethical concerns that we have. And of course, I cannot speak in behalf of everybody in the think tank, because we all have our own opinions, independent ideas. But I think three main concerns that are seen repeated through everybody, regardless of where you come from, freelancers, LSPs, academia. I think bias, accountability, and authorship. So bias, because these systems learn from human-centered data, and they reflect and sometimes even amplify existing stereotypes or cultural imbalances that we have in the society, and they can be biased without us wanting to, just because of the data that these models are trained on. Accountability, we talk about that a lot, because when the model produces errors or there's misinformation there, who's responsible? The developer, the user, the system itself. We cannot make a machine responsible of anything. So accountability is also a big one. And of course, authorship or ownership, because when AI generates content, and I'm talking about content, can be a translation or a video, marketing, regardless of what content it is, there are questions about the intellectual property, how original that content is, who's to be credited for that. So I think those, data privacy, there are a lot that comes to mind. Yeah. Maybe you want to...
Yes, there is one that for me is very important, and I think it's very important for the audience of this channel, is the sustainability and the future of our industry, and how people are supposed to live if rates go down with more AI put on top of things. I think this is something that we discussed, I know, a lot, and it concerns all of us deeply. Yes, I know it's a sensitive topic, but for me that is the most important one, and it can be extrapolated to humanity in general, probably not only our industry, but seeing how big corporations are just moving towards automating, implementing AI agents, blah, 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 without thinking about the human consequences of doing that. It doesn't matter if it works or if it doesn't work. Even if it works perfectly and everything is wonderful, which is not the case, but imagine, why would you do that without putting guardrails in place so that, you know, people in the world can live a decent life? That's, for me, that's the number one concern from an ethical perspective that AI brings to our industry specifically, but humanity in general. And there is a lot of hype, and us who are working hands-on with the technology, with the workflows, especially translators and linguists, I mean, you're the ones also seeing the output, and you know what it can be done and what it doesn't work, right? So we know that, but the pressure is very high in implementing technology. It's like a chain where it starts very high and it goes down, down, down until it comes to us, and we have to figure that out and how we can be sustainable. That's my main concern personally.
This is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Belén and Coral. I think I love seeing also that you put out content on YouTube, because I think it's such an accessible platform. It's my favorite platform, if you could guess, right? And I don't know. It puts a certain amount of trust when you can see faces of people and real people talking about these issues that people care about. So I would love to also collaborate with you more in the future. I think we can do a lot of things, because I have this whole community of freelancers. You have this whole community of experts, and we can definitely link the two. If you would like to have a last word before we finish the video, maybe addressing the viewers directly, how can they make the most of your institution?
Yes, I think, and thank you, Adrian, for giving us this space to discuss the think tank and for bringing us to this amazing community that you've built over the years. We're very grateful. I think you can start with the website, and as Adrian said, he will be sharing all the links in the description. But yes, just go to the website, check the content, and please engage with us if you find it useful in any way or shape. Please come to us and say, hey, I would like to see more about that, or hey, you are not talking too much about this topic and it's actually very important for us. Why don't you invite this person, or why don't you invite me and I can discuss this? I think that is something that we want to do more. So please reach out to us, use the Ask the Think Tank button on the website, and reach out if you think you can somehow participate in a podcast interview or through any other ways that you can think. We are a community, we are growing, and we want to, as we said, account for as many voices as possible, as long as it's respectful, coming from nice and good intentions. We are open to everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to be nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I really feel like we need a kind of a global AI think tank across everything. So, but that's too ambitious. So let's start with our industry, and let's do what we can in this, I mean, overall relatively small corner of the world, but we can definitely have an impact. So thank you very much to both of you, and all of you out there. Make sure to check all the links in the description to the localization think tank, to the two panelists today. Reach out to them, engage. That's what this is for. So we can create, give a voice to everyone. And I see you next Monday with the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.